Hello, welcome to Quantitative Research in Education. This video is about an introduction of quantitative research in which an overview of quantitative research will be given. The notion of objectivity will be explained. The importance of quantitative methods will be discussed. Its drawbacks will also be explained. Then hypothesis and the types of hypothesis will be explained. After that, units and variables will be discussed and the types of variables will be discussed. So first we want to know what is quantitative research. This research is all about collecting data by using numbers which are analyzed by using mathematics and statistics-based methods. Quantitative research is scientific investigation that includes both experiments and other systematic methods that emphasize control and quantified measures of performance. So whenever you see any number or any statistic involves, it will be quantitative research. Measurement and statistics are central to quantitative research because they are the connections between empirical observation and mathematical expressions of relations. This is what quantitative research is. Objectivity. It is the main phenomena of quantitative research. It is an impartial judgment that resides outside an individual's personal preferences, biases, and wishes. Educational researchers try to make their decision and procedures so clear and exact that others can replicate their studies to get the same or similar findings. Unlike qualitative research where you get the data from different people and if you try to replicate it, you will not get the same data. But your quantitative research should be designed in such way and should be done in such way that it can be that if anyone else replicate it, so they get the same result. Then the objectivity of your research will be ensured. Replication is an indispensable feature of a scientific approach that is objective. Now, when do we use quantitative methods? So the first is when we want to have our answers in quantitative manner. The first are questions that demand a quantitative answer. Examples are how many students choose to study education, or how many math teachers do we need and how many have we got in our school or district. That we need to use quantitative research to answer this kind of questions. The second is if we want to study the numerical change. Numerical change can also be understood by using quantitative methods such as are the number of students in our university rising or falling? Is achievement going up or down? We will need to do a quantitative study to find out the answers of such questions like if achievement is rising or achievement of students or is it going down. The second is to make prediction. When we want to find out the state of something or other, we often want to explain the phenomena. What factors predict the recruitment of math teachers? What factors are related to changes in student achievement over time? So such questions, to answer such questions, we need quantitative methods. And the final and the most important is to test the hypothesis. We might want to explain something, for example, whether there is a relationship between people's achievement and their emotional intelligence. So in those cases, quantitative research helps. Besides the importance, there are some drawbacks of quantitative research as well. So the first situation where quantitative research may fail is when we want to explore a problem in depth. Quantitative research is good at providing information in breadth from a large number of participants, but when we want to explore a problem or concept in depth, quantitative methods can be too shallow. We might need to go for ethnographic methods, interviews, in-depth case studies, and other qualitative techniques to explore the problem in depth. And as we discussed in our previous video, that qualitative research helps us to develop theories. So quantitative research cannot develop hypotheses and theories because we only test the hypothesis and theory by using the quantitative research. Next is there are less chances of unexpected variables like we can get in qualitative research. Unexpected variables are more likely to emerge, but the same case does not happen in quantitative research. Finally, it does not regard meaning of context or events. Our quantitative methods are best for looking at cause and effect. Qualitative methods are more suited to looking at the meaning of particular events or circumstances. So if we want to look at the meaning of any context or event, or if we want to do an in-depth research, then we should go for qualitative research instead of quantitative research. So these were few factors or few situations where quantitative research fails. As we have been discussing about hypotheses, so let's learn what are hypotheses. It is an assumption that the research is designed to test. It is like we have been studying, it is an intelligent case. It is a conjectural statement that indicates the relation between key ideas in their formulation of an answer. Often the hypothesis takes the form of if X, then Y. That is, if such and such occurs, then the consequences will be so and so. So you just predict the things. For example, this is a simple hypothesis, which is that hypothesis is that students prefer project-based learning. There are two types of hypothesis. One is null and other is alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis is the hypothesis which a researcher wish to reject. So one of the examples of null hypothesis is students will not prefer project-based learning. And the second one is alternative hypothesis. Students will prefer project-based learning, and researchers support this type of hypothesis. And null hypothesis is represented by H node, whereas alternative hypothesis is represented by HA or H1. If you have more than one, then you can write H node 1, H node 2, H node 3, and so on. Likewise, for alternative hypothesis, you can write HA1 or similarly H1, H2, H3. Then we have units and variables. Units, we collect data on something or some people. So the people or things we collect data from are called units of the study. Whereas variables refer to the data which differ between units, such as if we are collecting data from uh, one country of people about uh, their preference of types of school, then if we collect data from US, it will be different from the data of the Pakistan. So these are variables refer to the data which differ between units. Now there are many, but we are going to discuss about independent, dependent, and control variables only. Independent variables cause something to happen, and dependent variables are affected by the cause, whereas controlled variables are usually present in the experimental designs. In a pure experimental design, there are variables we try to minimize, so they have a limited effect on the independent and dependent variables. In a quasi-experimental design or other designs, it may not be possible to control these variables. but it is important to acknowledge the effect they may have on the research outcome. Control variable examples of control variables are the past experience, the family background, the socioeconomic background, and independent variables can be the test scores. Uh, Independent variable example is test score, and test score can be depend on your eating habits, on sleeping patterns, and so and so. I hope you have got some idea about quantitative research. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please share and subscribe to the channel to learn more about quantitative research in education. Thank you. Happy learning.